Hey there, Dave Gardner here, and in this video we're going to teach you how to change what you're going to see in an email with your MemoryPlace. Sorry about that. With your MemoryPlace, get on the right screen here, with your MemoryPlace email campaigns. And so inside, you are able to email your guests, the people that have contributed to your albums and your events. They're going to end up being a lead, assuming they actually entered their name and their email. And so there's some details that we want to change. And so, for example, if we go back to what we were looking at originally here, notice where it says, for example, if we just look at these two that are highlighted, it says a new MemoryPlace lead subscriber opened and opted in, and then a new MP lacrosse subscriber. So these are two different campaigns that we want to make sure that our details are appropriate so that when someone registers, they're actually getting email from the right person, and then they recognize that person. So there's a couple things I want to talk about in regards to this so that your event email campaign is set up. So the first thing we need to do, and I am in a test campaign. So notice where I wrote, save your best pictures with Dave from the event. That's really long and bulky. And so we want to minimize that, and we want to be able to play around with that a little bit so it makes a little more sense when I get a subscriber. So if you click where it says email your guests, now if you are a member of Now Lifestyle and you upgraded to MemoryPlace, what you're going to do there, instead you'll be going to digital products, and then you're going to go to your email autoresponder, and you're going to see the same campaign that's created. So every time you create an event, what happens is a new campaign is automatically created by the system. So if we go into campaigns and click down on list, we'll see a list of all the different campaigns that were created. And the new one that was just created is this one. And that's really big and bulky for a campaign name, where it says save your best pictures with Dave, created at 425. Now, if we go back to the email, every time someone enters pictures, I'll get an email that will say a new save your pictures with Dave from the event subscriber opted in. That's big and bulky. Okay, that's big and bulky. It would end up going across half the screen on Gmail. I wouldn't even be able to see probably what I'm dealing with here. So you can actually go in and edit these. So all of these can be edited. So for example, it says save your best pictures with Dave. I'm going to edit this. We can go over and click the little pen icon. And what that will do is open up the ability for you to change. And there's a couple things you want to change here, and a couple things you really want to make sure are set in place. So I'm just going to call this, best pictures Dave. Actually, I'm not even that. I'm just going to call it best pictures. So this is the best pictures campaign. So instead of having a long string, when I get a new subscriber, it will say a new best pictures subscriber opted in. Now, the other thing we want to do, and again, this is just a demonstration account, a demo account. The other thing you want to do is make sure you edit your details over here so that your name is not just your username. So for example, I'd say that it's from Dave Gardner. I would put my reply to email. So if they want to reply to it, I want to make it a business or as professional sounding as I can. So we're going to do Dave Gardner at thedavidgardner.com. So that is a more professional sounding email. I own that domain, I own the blog, and I have it set up so I can do email that way. As far as a notification email, I can do my generic Gmail on that. And so that way, when I get a new notification, it goes to my generic Gmail. So that can fill up with a lot of subscribers. But if it's minimal amount of people that are going to respond, or if someone's going to reply to or one of the emails they received, I want it to come off as looking a little more professional. And so then what I also want to do is make sure that this is checked at the bottom, assuming I want to know every time I get a subscriber. If you don't want to get subscribers, let's say you have, 1,000 people that are in an event. So you're hosting this huge event, or maybe you're doing a magazine article or, newspaper article, and you have a QR code, and next thing you know, thousands of people are submitting pictures. Maybe you don't want your email inbox to be loaded with messages about new subscribers. You can always uncheck this, and you can always check it back in if you want to turn it back on. So when you're done, sorry about that, just had a timer for something else. When you are done, make sure you click edit, and that will save it in the system. So keep in mind where it says best pictures, before it had that long string. So if we go back and look at the list again, we will scroll down and notice now it just says best pictures, where before it said that long string of, share your best pictures with Dave's event, and it was long and big and bulky. So that's the first thing you want to do to edit your event. You want to make sure that you have your details, your proper email that you want to have associated with that campaign. Now, for me personally, I will change things up a little bit. So for example, I used for this one, Dave Gardner at the David Gardner, because it's just a generic one. It's just pictures. But for me, I've coached and I have products in the lacrosse niche. And so I published a lacrosse book. I sell lacrosse products. And so in my lacrosse campaign in MemoryPlace, I actually have done that same thing, but instead of the email of Dave Gardner at thedavidgardner.com, it's Dave Gardner at basiclacrosse.com or Dave Gardner at lacrossecommandments.com. And so I fit the email to that population or to that niche and to that actual campaign. If you just want to go straight up with your Gmail, you can do that as well. Just saying it's better if you have something that is, like a legitimate email. If not, sometimes the system, will automate a more domain-based email for you. Now, the other thing to look at is under the reseller tools. If I go to the reseller tools and I look in lead capture system, I can also find my lists. So if I go and look at the list here, notice there's only one. This one is actually created by the company. Inside the email your guests, when we had that list, that is created every time you create a new account. A new email campaign is created, because I might have an email account, or not an email account, an event, Every time you create an event, a new email campaign is created. But when I have, let's say, a wedding, I don't want the people on my lacrosse list that are sending lacrosse pictures to go in my wedding pictures, because the people that went to the wedding and submitted pictures are going to see these pictures from the lacrosse game, and they're not going to know what's going on. So those, it's good to keep separate, and you can have as many events and as many email lists as possible just based on how many events you set up. So like I said, every time you set up a new event, you get a new list. But in the lead capture system, it's only established by the parent company themselves. But the same thing, you want to go in, you want to take some action, and you want to click that edit button when you're first setting up and do the same thing. Go ahead. I'm not going to change this one because this one is actually from the dev team and the dev account. But I would do the same thing. I would go and I would change this into my name, change this into, for example, my email, and change it into, again, my notification email. So just to show you that I did that, if we go into, again, Now Lifestyle, if you are a Now Lifestyle member and you upgraded to MemoryPlace, we said the campaigns will be under email autoresponder, but the actual email lead capture system, that's found under your same process. Notice the reseller center. I'm going to close this one. So the reseller center, just like we have here, the reseller tools, and then lead capture system. Now in this one, there's a lot more campaigns because I've upgraded to a couple other products that are in this platform of tools. But again, I just want to show you what you would do if you're in Now Lifestyle looking for this. You would go to campaigns. You could click list, but it actually opens them up. As soon as you open and click lead capture system, they all come up. What you need to do is scroll down to the bottom. At least at the time of this filming, it's the most recent new product, and so it's the last one there. So I'm going to go down all the way to the end and click that action button, which is really the edit button. Looks like a little pen. And again, notice I've already done it. And so this one is showing, this is going to automatically be protected. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go in and actually change this and see if that helps. Make sure, maybe some of the emails will get through better. So notice there was a warning that, if an automated program sends someone's Gmail out, then Gmail itself might think that that's a little sketchy. So if you actually have a domain-based email, then Gmail is going to recognize, oh, this is from a different domain. Okay, it's probably not someone trying to spam someone's email or steal someone's email details. So like I said, if you have a domain-based email, that's a little better. My notification email is the generic one. I'm notified about my subscribers, same thing. All I'm going to do is click edit because, again, I want to edit and update that to make sure that detail is correct and that's been updated and we're good to go. So notice it says successfully saved and we are back in action. So again, as far as editing your email campaigns, you want to make sure that you have the correct emails that you want to see those emails from every time you get a new subscriber, but also if someone subscribes and they want to reply to you and what they see in the message, they see the correct email is coming from you. So make sure you make those updates. Make sure you have things correct in your account as far as your email campaigns go, just to make sure that the baseline is good for the proper emails so that you get them and you get notifications.